Hey YouTube, it's your girl Chic from Chic Say What. I am coming on tonight. I wanted to do a live to talk about a couple of things. It seems like there's been a lot going on in the state of Wisconsin. So the first, Kyle Rittenhouse, as we know, he's been acquitted for the murder of two men. I have the article. Looks like this was last August. He was down, you know, I guess patrolling, or I don't know what he was doing. He was trying to protect the citizens. I don't know. He was 17. He had a gun. Things popped off, and the end result was two men killed, which he said it was in self-defense. So he was acquitted on that. And like I said, that was last year in August. So people aren't too happy about that verdict. I mean, you have a lot that are, but then there's a good number that aren't. I know just as far as for the Black community, I've been hearing a lot of people kind of not happy with the verdict. Just for one, they feel like, okay, well, had it been, or had Kyle been a Black man, Black young man, and this happened, he would have been found guilty. But in this situation, Kyle being a Caucasian male, he was acquitted of all charges. So it's been on and popping. I know in New York and in California, as far as with the protests. So we have that. And then, so as though that wasn't enough, so that was in Kenosha, August 2020. So that was that, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Now, fast forward to current, or as in Sunday, there was an incident where a man plowed through a holiday parade. And this is in Waukesha, Wisconsin. So as a result of that taking place, 5 people died, 48 injured. And it's just came out, the pictures of what this man looks like. I'll share my screen, but turns out he looks to be an African-American male that did this. It's just very sad. So yeah, I just want to come on here and just talk about just what's been going on, I guess, in Wisconsin pertaining to, Kyle Rittenhouse in his case, and people been in their feelings about the verdict, as well as this other man who is off balance, Darrell Brooks, who plowed into a Christmas parade, killing 5 people and injuring at least 48 others. So I just want to get into it. I'd love to hear anyone's thoughts pertaining to this matter, because it seems like just about everyone has an opinion of it. So yeah, I want to get into it. So first, I want to share my screen. I want to talk about this recent incident with the man plowing into the Christmas parade. So let me share my screen, and you guys can kind of see. Hey, Alex Joan, how are you? This is so crazy. I don't even know if crazy is the word. And I don't know, Alex, are you referring to the incident with the man, Darrell Brooks, plowing into the Christmas parade? From what I've heard, I think today that they're saying that he has some mental health issues. Everything that's going on, right? That part. They're saying Darrell has some mental health issues. So that goes without saying, because I don't think a sane person would do something like that. But they said he was going, I think maybe like 60 miles per hour. But I'm going to share my screen so you can see this article that that I came across with some information pertaining to the story, and also shining light on the victims. That's something, a lot of times the perpetrators get a lot of the energy and we hear about them, but the victims, they don't get enough attention. So I want to share my screen and just show a news article I came across where they were kind of highlighting the victims. So this is from CBS Chicago. 5 dead. So the article reads, headlines: 5 dead, 48 injured after an SUV plows into the Waukesha Christmas parade. Darrell Brooks faces 5 counts of murder. So this is, let's us listen to.
Hundreds showed up tonight for a candlelight vigil for those killed and injured in Waukesha, Wisconsin. As new information about the crime is surfacing, people here want to keep the focus on the victims, the heroes who helped them in the city of Waukesha. We have a team of reporters covering the Christmas parade tragedy.
Marie Saavedra is in Waukesha with the latest on the investigation, and CBS 2 investigator Dave Savini takes a look at the disturbing background of the accused driver. Let's begin with Marie.
Brad and Erica, that crowd gathered here at Cutler Park. It is not far from the scene of Sunday's tragedy. We know that people here wanted to keep that focus on the lives that were lost and also those dozens who were hurt, but also on the people that stepped in to help.
So often we focus on the perpetrators, so often we focus on the evil. And when we do that, we completely miss all the people that are helping. Waukesha Strong is a good way to put it. We rose to the occasion.
Now, the pain in this close community is deep, but it is also shared. There were groups from all around this area that came out to Sunday's parade just to put a smile on people's faces. Some of them tonight being remembered through tears.
Just take those old records off the shelf.
Can you keep up, Lee? Can you keep up with the group?
Oh, you bet I can. Yeah. I'm encouraging them. Come on, come on.
In August, 71-year-old Lee Owen shared her love of the dancing grannies.
1 and 2.
The Milwaukee troupe, 79-year-old Virginia Sorensen, had choreographed for years.
But the dancing grannies had a place for me here, choreography, and being an instructor. That's a really important part of my life.
Both loved entertaining crowds, but they would be killed on the streets of Waukesha during its Christmas parade.
I want to identify the victims that we know of at this time.
The police chief was emotional.
And I say this with great sorrow.
Sharing their names, plus those of 2 52-year-old women and an 81-year-old man. They make the 5 killed when the driver of a red SUV tore through the parade route, hurting at least 48 others. We are not showing the moment on video where police say 39-year-old Darrell Brooks of Milwaukee ran over marchers and watchers. Police say he was involved in some kind of domestic incident minutes before, but that Brooks wasn't chased by officers.
There were probably 75 officers, FBI, SWAT teams, around.
Investigators found his car a few blocks from the scene next to Richard Lox's home.
So the vehicle actually went through our parking lot, across the yard right there to the backside of the that adjacent house.
You can see the front end damage on that SUV as it was towed away. And to think what caused each dent in that metal is enough to break this city's heart. This is one of several events planned by this community in support of those affected by the tragedy. There's also a big push to take care of the many hundreds of people who saw this happen. The community wants to make sure that people take care of their mental health, too. We are live in Waukesha. Marie Saavedra, CBS 2 News.
Marie, thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna make sure. Okay. Listen, I don't even know what to say really about that incident. My first thought was, before further researching this was, okay, Wisconsin. Okay, we just had the verdict with Kyle. could this be something related? But, you know, as far as someone been in their feelings about the verdict, but then they're saying, as you know, in this article, that he had gotten into a dispute or something. This man, Darrell, had gotten into it with somebody or whatever prior to him going off the deep end and plowing through the parade. So as from what we're hearing, it's not even connected to anything pertaining to the Rittenhouse verdict. So, okay. So then that really makes you wonder, like, well, what the heck was going on? I mean, let me read this guy. Written hero. Is that what you call him? Alex Jones, written hero. Kyle, written hero. Yes, it's a lot. So it's a lot going on in Wisconsin, just to say the least. So I want to go back to, let me share my screen again, because I want to go back to that article. There was some other information on there I wanted to touch on. So it says that he's a 39-year-old man. So it says a 39-year-old man facing 5 counts of murder after plowing into the Waukesha Christmas parade in Wisconsin, just west of Milwaukee on Sunday, killing 5 people and injuring 48. There's a quote, "We are confident he acted alone. There is no evidence that this is a terrorist incident." This is Darrell. Thompson said Brooks was involved in a domestic disturbance with another person at a different location shortly before plowing into the crowd, but there is no evidence he was targeting anyone in the parade. Thompson said police did not have time to respond to the domestic disturbance to investigate before Brooks drove his SUV into the parade, so he could not provide details on the domestic incident on Monday afternoon. So this tweet says police confirms at least 5 dead this evening in Waukesha, over 40 injured. So let's play this, see what's on here. Okay, so online courts records showed a person named Darrell Brooks with a birth date making him 39 has 2 open criminal cases in Milwaukee County and 1 case filed November 5th. That was just not that long ago. He is charged with resisting or obstructing an officer, reckless homicide, disorderly contact, bail, jumping, and battery. Listen, bruh didn't even have no reason to even be walking on these streets based off all that. Records show $1,000 bond was posted on Friday. Who did that? Thompson confirmed an officer opened fire on Brooks' vehicle as the red SUV. Let me see. Thompson confirmed an officer opened fire on Brooks's vehicle as the red SUV during the incident to try to stop the vehicle, but stopped firing due to a large crowd at the parade. No one was injured by gunfire, and the officer who opened fire has been placed on administrative leave. Wow. So they had a whole shootout at the doggone parade. Those who died have been identified as Virginia Sorensen, 79, Leanna Owens, 71, Tamara Duran, 52, Jane Kulik, 52, and Wilhelm Hospital, 81. So they were all just about seniors. It's very sad to live, your life up to your 70s, and this is how you're taken out. Hell, even 81, Wilhelm Hospital is 81. Dr. Alan Johnson, Vice President of Critical Care at Pro Health Care, said 29 victims were brought to Waukesha Memorial Hospital, including several children. After they were treated and stabilized, 11 of those children were transferred to Children's Wisconsin, a pediatric hospital in Milwaukee. 12 other victims brought to Waukesha Memorial were treated and released on Sunday, and another person left without being treated, according to Johnson. 1 other victim died on arrival. 4 victims were still being treated at Waukesha Memorial on Monday afternoon, but likely would be sent home later in the day. prayers that no one else, that's injured, dies from their injuries, that part. So as of 9:55 a.m. Monday, so that's today, Children's Wisconsin reported treating 18 children who were injured during the parade. Children's Wisconsin said the children injured ranged from the ages of 3 to 16 years old, including 3 sets of siblings. That's crazy, y'all. Let me see what you guys say in the comments. I mean, listen. I mean, it's insane. I mean, the lives that have been impacted as from the actions of one individual, 48 people, 18 of them children. So we have that. Then if you jump over to Kyle's situation, what we have, let me see, what, 2 people who died as a result of that. There was the black man, he survived. They said that actually, I don't know if you guys heard, they were like, he basically, I guess, had a plea deal. So he didn't have any charges against him for kicking Kyle in the head, because apparently, I guess cooperated with the police. So he won't be getting, any charges for that. But one thing I heard today when I was, listening to some content about Kyle is that while Kyle was walking the streets in Wisconsin, let me jump over to the article with Kyle. Let's switch gears. We're going to jump over to Kyle. Because like I said, it's a lot going on in Wisconsin. Of all places, Wisconsin, like how often we hear anything going on in Wisconsin, and then now we got all this popping off at one time. Like, it's a lot. Come on, Wisconsin, they doing the most out there right now. Let me see. It's like they trying to get on the map for the wrong things. So let's go to this article right here. Kyle Rittenhouse acquitted. Protests erupt from New York to California. Live updates. Fast facts. Kyle Rittenhouse, 18, was acquitted Friday of 5 charges after he killed 2 men and wounded a third with a rifle during a turbulent night of protests that erupted in, that erupted in Kenosha in August 2020. Rittenhouse defense team argued that the then 17-year-old was acting in self-defense when he shot 3 people. The verdict prompted protests in major cities across the U.S., including one that escalated into a riot in Portland, Oregon on Friday evening. So this is Kyle. So let's see. Let's see what they have to say right here.
Meantime, Kyle Rittenhouse spoke with our Tucker Carlson. That interview will air on Monday, but we have now a sneak peek.
I tell everybody there what happened. I said I had to do it. I was just attacked. I was dizzy. I was vomiting. I couldn't breathe. This case has nothing to do with race. It never had anything to do with race. It had to do with the right to self-defense.
Right.
I'm not a racist person. I support the BLM movement. I support peacefully demonstrating. And I believe there needs to be change. I believe there's a lot of prosecutorial misconduct, not just in my case, but in other cases. And it's just amazing to see how much a prosecutor can take advantage of somebody.
Okay, so it looks like Kyle has an interview that's going to be aired with him talking about, I guess, the case. Of course, when cases going on, you can't really talk. But now that it's quote unquote behind him, he's able to speak on it. So I think that ought to be an interesting interview that you guys might want to try to check out. Let's see. Hi, Alex, a little bit. I got the sniffles a little bit. Good thing I'm be taking a break from work because of the holiday. I'm trying to come on here and get through this video. I hadn't done one in a little bit, so I'm like, hey, let's jump on here. But I'm trying to make it. Yeah, what do you think about this? This verdict with Kyle. Like, do you think it was self-defense? It's like, to be honest, I've heard so much information. I hear that not all the footage have been released as far as that shows where, have you guys heard about anything where any of the victims, those who died, actually had a gun, also had a gun on them? So it's like I'm hearing like pieces of information, and the most recent information that I'm hearing is just as though, okay, well, maybe like it was self-defense. But then I hear information where, okay, well, no, you know, he walked into territories that he didn't belong. No one else had a gun. He had like, it's so much to where it's all over the place, to where as of right now, I don't really have a stance. I'm still just trying to get all the information. He says, your house so quiet, my kids and husband never be quiet for me to do this. Yeah, they're busy out there doing some things. You know, we purchased a new washer and dryer set, so they're kind of moving the old out and the end, out with the old, in with the new. So they're kind of busy. So I got them occupied so I can come on here and do this video. So that's why it's quiet right now. I'm in my bedroom. But Alex, like, do you have any thought? Like, what's your thought as far as with the verdict? Have you followed it enough to have an opinion? Because like I said, I don't per se really have an opinion just yet, because it's like I keep hearing conflicting information. And some information has me to think that, wow, okay, maybe like this was self-defense. And then the other information is like, okay, well, maybe he didn't have to shoot. So I want to come out here and just see if I can just talk to you all and get your thoughts on it, because there's a lot of people who do have an opinion, and a lot of people in the protesters, for the most part, their opinion is the jury got it wrong. The footage shown he's innocent, right? So it's like, so then there's this layer of, I'm hearing we're not seeing everything. Like we're seeing only part of like the video. But I heard today from someone like that, apparently while Kyle was walking the streets, there was someone recording him the whole time. So I found that kind of odd, because who's just randomly just watching someone and just recording their every move? And a part of, you know, in their footage, I guess they just show basically him kind of getting attacked, him walking around having a first aid kit, trying to provide assistance to anybody who needed help. Like it was just in a whole different type of light. So it's like, why would somebody have been there recording him? Like was that the plan? Okay, well, hey, I'm about to walk these streets. Go ahead and record me just in case anything pop off, you know? So we got our footage. Like it doesn't, that's the part that doesn't make sense to me. And then, you know, they talk about how even, have you heard about, they say one of the victims' girlfriend had made a comment or something saying that she feels sorry for Kyle. I found that to be interesting. I think it's one of the victims' name was Anthony, so I think it was maybe him. But apparently she had been on record saying that she felt sorry for Kyle. So I'm curious to know if that was something that was heard in the courts. Yeah, people are always recording now, but it's just so, you just gonna pick one I mean, I haven't seen the footage. I was just listening to another content creator, and they were just talking about like while Kyle was just walking the streets, it was just somebody just recording. So I don't know. Maybe they just, like you said, people do just record. So maybe it's like somebody just thought he looked kind of odd, or they thought, okay, this little white boy gonna get beat up. Let me just have my phone ready to capture the moment. So, but there was a lot of footage and things on camera, and that probably contributed to him getting off. Because just imagine if there were no cameras to capture what the public have seen. Because what the public has seen is like, he was pretty much getting beat up on, and he pulled out his rifle and shot him. He injured one, because I think they said he shot at the black guy and he missed him. And then there was some guy that came up on him to try to hit him with a skateboard. And he ended up shooting him. And then somehow some other person ended up getting shot. So it's crazy. He got off. Now we got our protesters out there in these streets and wilding out, and people are getting arrested. It's just a whole mess. Let's see what this article says. So when a Wisconsin jury acquitted Kyle Rittenhouse of murder charges last week, that development hampered the progress of science. A Virginia University chemistry department suggested in a series of online posts that at least one critic is deriding as inappropriate politicized rhetoric. The communications on James Madison University official Instagram account also briefly included a so-called student takeover video in which JMU student laminated the murdering of 2 Black lives, even though the jury agreed that Rittenhouse acted in self-defense and the 2 men he fatally shot were both white. So like I said, I think a lot of the people of color, in particular Black people, have an issue because they feel like had Kyle been a Black man or a young Black boy, the verdict would have been different. What do you think? Do you think that had Kyle been Black, of African-American descent, like just not white, a minority, do you think the verdict would have been different? And just from my little time on this planet, I've seen verdicts and things that take place to where I felt like, man, had it been somebody of color, the verdict would have been different. I can honestly say that, like, I've seen that far too many times. Nothing right now, off the top of my head that I'm just coming up with, but you just see it where you're like, man, now, if that was Raekwon, like, he would be up underneath the jail. Like, how often have we seen verdicts where that was what we said, like, where we knew that it was some special treatment going on? Let me, what can I say that prop that I felt that way about? Like, even like say that the cop who shot the Black guy, what was that? The text that was that like a year or 2 ago? I guess it would have been pre-pandemic. So maybe like a couple of years ago, the cop who thought she went into her apartment and she killed the Botham Jean. He was sitting in his apartment eating ice cream. Like, that was like a case where I felt like if that officer wasn't white, that it would have been different. That's an example that that comes to me where I just felt like it would have been different. Why did Superkill say written hero? Kyle written here. I don't know. Superkill. I don't know if they're still in here in the chat. If you are, Super K-Pill, if you could just elaborate, why did you refer to Rittenhouse as written hero? If you could elaborate on that. But there's, like I said, there's been many times where I felt like a verdict would have been different had it been, a Black man or a Black woman. It's just what it is. And like I said, with this case, my initial thoughts was, when I was just hearing the information just from like third party, my thoughts was, okay, this sounds like something to where there's some special treatment going on. But like I said, now as time has gone and I've been hearing more information and seeing more footage, it has me to wonder, like, okay, well, was this a legit situation of self-defense? But even outside of that, it being a legit situation of self-defense, still, if it was Raekwon or Damien, like, would they still get the leniency of something still being self-defense? You see, it to me, I just feel like that when it's other cultural groups that's not Black, there's more lenience there. There's a greater deal of investigation. There's reasons that the law enforcement or the legal system where they can justify, well, why something may have been plausible. Like, it just seems like common sense kind of goes out the window a lot of times when it comes to our group versus other groups. Like with our group, it's like we don't get no slack. Like, okay, you could have did this, that, whatever, you get thrown to the wolves. But when it's other cultural groups, it's like logic, a lot of rationalization that the law enforcement will come up with to justify how something, could have made sense. And therefore it result in them kind of getting off on the charge. I don't know. It just seemed like we get no slack. They keep their foot on our necks when it comes to the things that we do. And it's just disheartening. It's not a race thing. Hey, Kevin, this particular case, as I was saying, I don't know when you joined the live, I don't personally know enough about the case to say, because first of all, we're dealing with white on white. A white man killed 2 other white men. So that part there. But I think the race part that's coming up with people is that, well, this is what I've heard as far as with arguments. People of color, in particular, Black people, are saying, hey, had Kyle been a Black man, would the verdict have been different? That's that part. So that's a whole conversation there. With this Kyle Rittenhouse situation, I've heard and seen so many different pieces to where right now I'm kind of still trying to form my thoughts and opinions on the whole situation. But people who have formed an opinion, they're at least saying, one opinion I'm hearing out there is like, okay, they gave him more leniency than they would give, say, if it was someone of color that had been on trial. So there's that opinion, like right there. Alex Jones said, why do Black people need to wonder if the verdict would be different if he were Black? You know what, Alex? I personally don't think that it's something that deserves a lot of energy to wonder if it were different if he were Black. So I'm not quite sure why they're heavily focused on that. I personally think it's a waste of energy to do that. I'm thankful that it wasn't anybody Black. The whole situation is just sad, but I'm happy that it's not another situation where we're dealing with somebody Black either being gunned down or being the person, behind the gun. How many times do we hear the story where we're involved in it, and then you got the protest for that? So my thing is, this was an opportunity for us to kind of sit and eat our popcorn and watch how things play out versus putting our energy into it and our feelings into it, because as they say, it's not our business. This is something, this was something that didn't have nothing to do with us, but somehow we've, as a people, collectively have interjected ourselves into it. And that's the part that I personally don't agree with. Hey, Kevin. Hello. Kevin, I've been typing stuff, but you block it. I don't know how I'm blocking. I don't even know how to block, Kevin. Let me see. Try to type something in now, because I'm not intentionally blocking anything. So go ahead and try to type in something now. I'm not that advanced over here to be blocking stuff, so I know I'm not intentionally blocking you, Kevin. So Try it again. So that's my thing, yeah, I don't think that we need to be out there putting ourselves in danger over this case at all. This was something that didn't have anything pretty much kind of to do with us. I mean, there was a black man who was involved in it because like I said, he had like kicked Kyle, but that pretty much kind of wasn't a part of like that's not what what the trial was for. Like I said, he made him a little deal. So the trial was pertaining to like the murder charges of the two men. So I hope that our people eventually just go ahead and go on and take it to the house. And nope, let me see. Nope, it still blocked it. I don't know what that is, Kevin, because I don't have any like thing. I don't even show like hide. Let me see. I don't really have a lot of comments. You said hello. Let me see. You said it's a not a race thing. That came through. I don't know why else anything you're saying. I don't know if it's maybe can you go out of the live stream and come back in and see if that works. What I can't say black people online. Listen, YouTube. I've heard people say that things in especially with these live streams, that if you say something where YouTube will block it, so that may be whatever you're typing, YouTube might be blocking it. So I can't even see it because I don't even see anything that you've said other than the things that I've kind of read out. So maybe that's the case. Try typing something else in without that word. But yeah, YouTube, we're now in a climate where we're what I said, let me see. I said black people and it didn't get blocked. Let me see. YouTube is trying to silence me. Maybe so, Kevin. I don't know. I wonder what you're trying to say, Kevin, since they're trying to silence you. That's funny, but I'm not doing anything over here. So I don't know really what's going on. Like I said, try going out and come back in and see if it works or whatever. Because I definitely want to hear what you have to say. Yeah, so just try that for me and come back in if you don't mind. So yes, I don't feel like this is our fight, but just think about it. Black people as collective, how often are we not a part of somebody's fight? Like we always, if something pop off with the Asians, we down there protesting for that. If something pop off pertaining to just, the Hispanics, immigrants, crossing the board. Listen, we always gonna show up for everybody, but as they always say, how often do they show up for us? Like you don't see it in large numbers where other cultural groups show up for us as we show up for them. And it's just the way it is. So I don't understand, why we're out there just protesting, but I just hope that in the midst of this, people don't get hurt or get any criminal charges for nothing. Let me see. So it is tit for tat. Let me see. Kevin, I'll type it one word at a time then. All right, let me see. I only want. So you're saying I only want black dead. Only want black dead because they want me dead. Okay, so Kevin, you said I only want black people dead because they want me dead. So you're saying, so are you a non-black person that need to be blocked? Well, hell, no wonder why Kevin, the damn message wasn't getting in if that's what you was trying to say. Who wants you dead? But as I say, I definitely think that we need to sit at home for this one. You know, I don't think we need to be out there putting ourselves in danger for this situation. Yeah, this has nothing. It's not our business. It doesn't have anything to do with us. And I think we need to do what the other cultural groups do. What the other cultural groups do. I mean, they don't. You don't really see them too much interject. You know, let's just say last year, when the George Floyd trial and things were taking place. How many non-blacks did we see really out there on the picket lines with Black people? Like, you don't see it like that. You might see one here and there, but you don't see them out there in droves. Like you'll see like the Black community out there supporting the other groups. So that's something that I think we should try to, do better at with, paying attention to stuff like that. Let me see. So CBS Face the Nation continues to claim Rittenhouse crossed state lines armed for battle. So that was another thing I was hearing, is like he had crossed state lines, but then I was hearing like, oh, okay, well, the town where it happened at, he actually worked there. So it says, in a report for the Face the Nation reporter, Mark Straussman falsely claimed that Kyle Rittenhouse crossed state lines armed for battle. On Sunday, CBS program featured a news package on a recent jury ruling over 18-year-old Rittenhouse in August 2020. The then 17-year-old Rittenhouse shot 3 men attempting to attack him during the Kenosha riots in Wisconsin. The shots later killed 2 of the attackers, Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber, while wounding a third, Gage Grosskreutz. Rittenhouse then faced several charges, including first-degree intentional homicide. His attorneys claimed he had fired the weapon in self-defense. Strassman reported on the events leading up to the riots, including the police shooting of Jacob Blake. Regarding Rittenhouse, Strassman described him as having been drove in from Illinois armed for battle. So, did he really, did he get, did he specifically drive there just to be confrontational, like, or was he already there? So that it's like, I've heard both. Like, initially I was hearing he was driven there, so he basically crossed state lines. Then I started to hear once, I think right around when the verdict came out, that no, he didn't drive, he was basically a local. So Kyle Rittenhouse's mother speaks out following son's acquittal. It's not about winning or losing. She's quoted as saying. So Kyle Rittenhouse's mother, Wendy Rittenhouse, told Fox News on Sunday that there's no winning or losing in the wake of her son's acquittal in the murder trial that griped the nation for the past 2 weeks. Okay, so is this her? Let's play this. Let's see what she has to say. Okay, come on.
We begin with a Fox News alert.
Okay, let me see.
Protest across American cities spilling into a second day following the acquittal of Kyle Rittenhouse on all charges. In Chicago, protesters marched through the streets calling for a, quote, communist.
Okay, let me try this again. I don't know what happened to our video, because I want to hear what she has to say. Okay. Is this still the article? I don't know what happened. It kind of just jumped off. Okay. Let's slowly scroll down. Try to get to that video. Let's see if I can get it to play. Okay. Okay. So I don't know what's going on with that video, but let's read At this article, Kyle Rittenhouse's mother speaks out following son's acquittal. It's not about winning or losing. So Kyle Rittenhouse's mother, Wendy Rittenhouse, told Fox News on Sunday that there's no winning or losing in the wake of her son's acquittal in the murder trial that griped the nation for the past 2 weeks. Wendy's 18-year-old son was on trial for first-degree intentional homicide, 2 counts of first-degree intentional homicide, and 2 counts of first-degree reckless endangerment after shooting and killing 2 men and wounding another during riots in Kenosha, Wisconsin, August 2020, following the police shooting of Jacob Blake. So his critics largely convicted him as a murderer, while the defendant and his legal team argued Kyle had been acting in self-defense. The jury found him not guilty on all charges on Friday. Quote, "It's not about winning or losing," Wendy told Fox News correspondent Alexis McAdams. "There were 2 people that did pass away and families have grieved. He does have remorse," she said of her son, later adding he would have never went down there if this would have ever happened again. He would never. So, okay, so let's try to see if this video can work again for us.
We begin with a Fox News alert. Protest across American cities spilling into a second day following the acquittal of Kyle Rittenhouse on all charges. In Chicago, protesters marched through the streets calling for a, quote, communist revolution. Tampa, Minneapolis, and Los Angeles saw similar marches and demonstrations on Saturday.
Meanwhile, one person was arrested in Portland after Friday's protest was declared a riot. And in New York City, Mayor-elect Eric Adams slams division extremists who vandalized a neighborhood known for supporting police following Friday's verdict.
It gives the appearance that black and white New Yorkers are at each other's throat, and that's not. They were from out of our city and state.
5 people were arrested and charged with rioting there. We go now to Kenosha, where Alexis McAdams is live on the ground. Alexis, you spoke with Kyle's mother, Wendy, yesterday. Good morning.
Good morning. That's right. In her only interview since that verdict, we talked with Wendy Rittenhouse, who's Kyle Rittenhouse's mom, before the family had to get out of this area due to safety concerns, because as you just mentioned, as you saw there's protests popping up across the nation. The family says they're by no means celebrating, but just trying to move forward. So this is what we talked to her about, just going back through what it was like in that courtroom as she sat there watching Kyle, watching the judge, and watching the jury there, waiting to learn her son's fate. And this was her only interview before she left for Wisconsin. Take a listen.
It's not about winning or losing. There was 2 people that did passed away, and families have to grieve.
And the Rittenhouse family says they're also grieving. Rittenhouse breaking down there in court, grabbing his knees and sobbing, at some points barely breathing as he stood in front of the judge, waiting to learn his fate there. The Illinois teen found not guilty on all 5 charges in court in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Rittenhouse shot 3 men, killing 2 during the unrest following the police shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha last summer. His mother claims this was self-defense, taking us back inside of that courtroom.
He does have remorse. You know, and like if people say if he can do it again, he would. I said he would do it again, but talking to him now, he would never walk down there if this ever happened again. He would never.
Right now, loved ones of the 2 men of those who were killed by Kyle Rittenhouse, heartbroken over this acquittal. The Rittenhouse family tells me the teen was slandered from the start, looking to pursue legal action because they believe Kyle Rittenhouse was found guilty in the court of public opinion before he ever even got his day in court.
He wants to go to school. He wants to play with his dog Milo and be a normal kid, but it's going to be different for him because there's going to be people out there who wants to hurt him. And people need to, he needs to heal, and the other people that's been involved in this, they need to heal too. And it's going to be difficult.
Wendy Rittenhouse telling me that she's not sure if her son will ever have a normal life following this verdict. Once again, major safety concerns swirling around the Rittenhouse family as they had to get out of Wisconsin just moments after that verdict coming down here in Kenosha. Later this morning, there's going to be a march near the courthouse. Once again, people calling for justice because, as we both know, not everybody is happy with how this went down for Kyle Rittenhouse, but right now the teen is free and he's looking to move forward, talking about college and talking about having a normal life if he can do that.
Yeah, that's difficult. You can tell that she's worried about that. Alexis, we had her on the show as well. And during that time, that was during the trial, we asked her if her family or Kyle planned to file defamation charges. And she wisely evaded the answer. Did she give you any indication in this interview that that's something they want to pursue?
Yes, they've been, kind of dancing around that question. But yesterday when we talked with the family, it's very apparent that they are going to pursue legal action. They didn't give us the name rather of exactly, which lawyer they're going to be using at this point, but they have everything in order to make sure that Kyle gets the justice he deserves because like we mentioned, they believe he was just slandered from the start on social media by people all over the place and people at, high officials. So we'll have to see what happens next.
Alexis, so often when we look at these cases, we forget the human aspect of this. We saw what it looks like, Kyle having a panic attack in the courtroom after. I know he's been getting therapy. Did the mother talk about anything about his health, how he's doing from that aspect?
Well, she said that this is the first time she has watched Kyle seem a little bit more relieved and happy and said it's the first time she's seen him smile in months, 15 months. She said he just hasn't been the same kid, hasn't had that look in his eyes. And she said that he is being treated for PTSD. And there's just so many triggers, with these protests that were popping up and things like that. He was really getting emotional too. So that's why they wanted to make sure they got him out of Kenosha, got out of this area because this courthouse is only a few blocks away from where that shooting happened. So this entire area for Kenosha isn't a memorable place to be. They want to get out of this area and try to move forward.
All right, Alexis, thank you so much for that report this morning.
Thank you, Alexis.
Wow, Kyle Rittenhouse to Tucker Carlson. I had to do it. I was just attacked. Kyle Rittenhouse told Tucker Carlson in an exclusive interview that he had to do it and was attacked. Quote, I tell everybody there what happened. I said I had to do it. I was just attacked. I was dizzy. I was vomiting. I couldn't breathe, Rittenhouse said. Watch the full interview on Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Tucker Carlson tonight. It's just a sad situation. And it's just unfortunate that Kyle just went to where he went. It's just, if only had he made a different decision. One thing I don't know is, and I hadn't heard, and if you all have heard it, who wants you dead, Kevin? Don't wish harm on anyone who doesn't wish harm on me. So as far as with Kyle, does anyone know where his mom was at while he was out there, I guess, patrolling the streets last year when the shooting took place? Like, because with him being 17, what do you tell your parents? Okay, well, I'm about to grab the rifle and go patrol the streets. Like, what is that conversation like? Because I hadn't heard anyone kind of speak on that as to, from his, as far as for his guardians, how he was just able to just be out there in the streets with a rifle at 17. I mean, I'm pretty sure at 17, he wasn't, I think they say, I don't know if it was his mother's rifle, but I'm just confused on that part of how he got there. What made him be in that situation? Where was his mom? So I don't know if during that interview with Carlson Tucker, with Tucker Carlson, if that kind of will come out, because I'm sure I can't be the only one with that question as to, like, where was his parents? Why was he out there like that? It just, I don't know. It just doesn't sound right. So yeah, we're not going to keep this live going on too long. I just want to kind of touch on that. Definitely you guys, check out that interview with Tucker Carlson. Let me see that. This is a 27. Let me click on this. I don't know if we've seen this already. I guess
tomorrow night.
It's a clip of the interview.
You can see the Kyle Rittenhouse. He's going to be with Tucker Carlson, his first interview since his acquittal. In fact, we have a preview for you.
I tell everybody there what happened. I said I had to do it. I was just attacked. I was dizzy. I was vomiting. I couldn't breathe.
All right, that interview will air at 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night here in the Fox News channel.
All right, so that seems like it'll probably be a pretty good interview to check out. Rittenhouse lawyer rips CNN and MSNBC for false reporting, botching basic facts. And, I even had heard, I guess they were going after, with President Biden under his scrutiny over, Rittenhouse, opinions that he had made prior to the verdict. So it says the mainstream media is under fire for allegedly false reporting throughout the Kyle Rittenhouse murder trial, and defense lawyer Mark Richards confirms with the News Nation now that coverage from some outlets was just plain wrong. Much of the coverage at the beginning was wrong, he told Banfield host Ashley Banfield, who previously worked for CNN Sunday. The trial proves that. Richards mentioned outlets like CNN, MSNBC, who blatantly spread misinformation, such as MSNBC host Joe Scarborough detailing that Rittenhouse shot his firearm 60 times. Another false claim fueled by the media was that Rittenhouse's firearm possession was illegal, while multiple media outlets also inaccurately reported that Rittenhouse illegally crossed state lines with the rifle. In reality, the AR-15 he used during the riot was already at a friend's house in Kenosha. That's wrong, he said. When I hear some guest hosts on Joy Reid say my client drove 4 hours to go to a riot with his AR, that's wrong. It's false. Yeah. It seems like, we'll be hearing more pertaining to this case, because it seemed like Rittenhouse and his family will be most likely, seems like they'll be, suing some folks, suing some networks for defamation. And, we live in America, so anyone has that right to go after someone for defamation if they can prove that the person, put out false information about them intentionally. So we'll just have to continue to kind of watch this. It's just a sad situation. It's just a sad situation all around. It's a lot going on in Wisconsin. So like I said, we have that. And then, earlier we touched on the situation with with Darrell Brooks. He was the man who plowed into the Christmas parade in Waukesha. Let me see. Let me try to go back to that one to recap that one. Let's go here on this article. I found this one too. So let me share this video right here. Let's see.
More than 40 people, including a group of young dancers waving pom-poms. Sean Riley is the Waukesha city mayor.
Today, our community faced horror and tragedy in what should have been a community celebration. I'm deeply saddened to know that so many in our community went to a parade, but ended up dealing with injury and heartache.
A video posted online showed a red SUV speeding down the street of a parade and appearing to...
Uh-oh. Let me go back. See if we can get the video back on after this commercial ad. Okay, there we go.
sped through a Christmas parade in Wisconsin on Sunday, injuring more than 40 people, including a group of young dancers waving pom-poms. Sean Riley is the Waukesha city mayor.
Today, our community faced horror and tragedy in what should have been a community celebration. I'm deeply saddened to know that so many in our community went to a parade but ended up dealing with injury and heartache.
A video posted online showed a red SUV speeding down the street of a parade and appearing to run over people before crowds sprinted down sidewalks to help victims. Chief of Police Dan Thompson said a person of interest was in custody and the suspect vehicle had been removed after the incident, about 20 miles west of Milwaukee. He added that an officer fired shots at the vehicle and no bystanders were injured. The city police posted on its Facebook that 5 people have been confirmed dead and over 40 injured, but numbers may change as more information is made available. It's unknown whether the incident was related to terrorism, but an earlier shelter-in-place order had been lifted in the town, according to Thompson. A woman told local news that the SUV hit a dance team of girls between 9 and 15 years old. Another witness, Jesus Ochoa, described what he saw when filming on his phone. I went a bit further down to see what had really happened, and already a lot of people were injured and were being assisted on the floor. A lot of injured, a lot of children. Unfortunately, a lot of children were involved in this act. Some of the injured were taken to the hospital by ambulance, others by police and family and friends, according to authorities.
So, yeah, so that was the second incident that recently happened in the state of Wisconsin. Let's see what it says. Today, our community faced horror and tragedy in what should have been a community celebration. I'm deeply saddened to know that so many in our community went to a parade but ended up dealing with injury and heartache. So that was the comments of the city mayor, Sean Riley of Waukesha. He added that an officer fired shots at the vehicle and no bystanders were injured. The city police posted on its Facebook that 5 people have been confirmed dead and over 40 injured, but numbers may change as more information is made available. It's unknown whether the incident was related to terrorism, but an earlier shelter-in-place order had been lifted in the town, according to Thompson. A woman told local news that the SUV hit a dance team of girls between 9 and 15 years old. Another witness, Jesus Ochoa, described what he saw when filming on his phone. I went a bit further down to see what had really happened, and already a lot of people were injured and were being assisted on the floor. A lot of injured, a lot of children. Unfortunately, a lot of children were involved in this act. Some of the injured were taken to the hospital by ambulance, others by police and family and friends, according to authorities. So, yes, it's definitely the state of Wisconsin needs prayer. Definitely a lot going on there, and we'll just have to just continue to, watch the case, pertaining to Kyle Rittenhouse, as well as this new case with Darrell Brooks. So, seems like Darrell's in custody, so hopefully, he'll have his day in court and the verdict will be an easy guilty, and he gets whatever that's coming to him that, according to the law for the charges that we anticipate for him to be found guilty of, because that was just a whole mess and he shouldn't have been out on these streets anyway. So I will not keep you any further. We'll go ahead and end this live. I do thank you for joining. Please like, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment. If you have some information pertaining to either of the cases, because like I said, both of these cases, I'm kind of still just researching them. But I know there's a lot of opinions in regards to the Kyle Rittenhouse case. So I'd just love to hear what you have to say about that. So if you happen to catch this playback, please drop your comments. If you have any topics or areas that you would like for me to discuss. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining, Alex. But yeah, if you have any topics or anything you'd like for me to discuss, to touch on, definitely drop that in the comment as well. I'm kind of impromptu when I go on my live. So make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when I do go live. Because I do enjoy talking to you all, while I'm, recording. But thank you to those who also so happen to catch the playback. Like I said, there is a lot going on in the streets of Wisconsin. We all just need to keep everyone lifted in prayer. It's just a lot going on right now in this world. So, blessings to all of you. Just stay safe. And thank you for stopping by. Kamala, Kyle Rittenhouse is a saint. Well, I don't know if you've been around, but thanks for stopping by, Kamala, for this live. But yes, thank you all for checking out this live, and those who check out the playback. Drop your comments, hit the notification bell, share the stream, subscribe. Thank you, and I will check you on the next broadcast. Peace.